Do you know that all of us are going to go down in history as people who faced the corona pandemic? What do we mean by this? Pandemic. Pandemic is made of two words, pan and demic. Pan means all and demic means people. So any disease which is affecting all the people is known as pandemic. Pandemic is a disease which spreads across continents, all countries. And today we can say that corona has taken the shape of a pandemic because it is affecting all countries from Australia to America. But initially when it started, it was not a pandemic. It started as an epidemic. So what's the difference between an epidemic and a pandemic? An epidemic is an infectious disease which spreads uncontrollably. And if we are not able to control the epidemic, it converts into a pandemic. Coronavirus outbreak started in a small town of Wuhan in China. When I use the word outbreak, it means a sudden eruption, an unusual activity, a sudden occurrence. And now, coming to words like quarantine. We are today in quarantine. Whenever a restriction is placed on people to limit their travel, to limit their movement, so that there is no interaction, it is known as quarantine. It is a self-quarantine if I impose that restriction on myself. So what is the difference between quarantine and isolation? Quarantine is just a precautionary message, a precautionary measure to control the disease. Whereas isolation is when a person gets infected with the disease, he is separated out from other people so that he does not spread the infection. Isolation is mainly used medically. Social distancing. People are working from home so that there is no interaction. Malls are shut down. People are not going to the market. We are not going to each other's house because we are maintaining a social distance. Again, to control the spread of the disease. What are the symptoms of coronavirus? Symptoms are shortness of breath. When you're not able to take deep breath, it is known as shortness of breath, shallow breath, lethargy, fatigue, body ache, cold, dry cough. These are all symptoms of coronavirus. And when a person is carrying all these symptoms, that person is known as symptomatic. There are some cases in which we cannot see the symptoms. and those people are known as asymptomatic people because they are not showing any sign of the disease. And that person may be a carrier of the disease or may not be a carrier of the disease. It all depends on the incubation period. Incubation period is known as that period, the time taken between getting infected and showing the symptoms. In case of coronavirus, the incubation period is of 14 days. Here particularly, the problem is that the carrier of the infection may be asymptomatic, but he spreads the disease. And that's why we have to be quarantined and we have to maintain a social distance from other people.